Hello, I'm Chris, and I'm hearing.
Hi, I'm Nallely. I'm deaf.
Welcome back to the next episode of Definitely Us. Today is all about the girl who puts the deaf in Definitely Us, the one, the only, my beautiful wife, Nallely.
Aww.
So we have some questions ready for her, and we have some cards, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
I'm excited to answer
Yep.
and see what questions you all have.
Are you ready for your
Ready?
first question?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. The first question is tough, I'm just letting you know.
Okay,
Where are you from?
that's not a tough question. Okay, where am I from? I was born in Mexico. Was I raised in Mexico? No. I lived there until I was about 2. Then my family and I moved to the U.S., specifically South Carolina, and that's where I've lived my whole life. Yep.
Okay. Good start. Don't look. The next question is, were you born deaf? If not, how did you become deaf?
Okay. Was I born deaf? No. I was born hearing. Then I started getting sick often. I remember my mom telling me that I used to dance with the music and that I could hear well. Then when I turned 2, my mom noticed that something was different. Something was strange. She started noticing that I stopped dancing, or that when she would call my name, I would just keep on going about my business and wouldn't answer when she called. They noticed something was wrong. So my parents decided to take me to the doctor to run some tests. That's when they learned that I was in fact deaf. The cause was a fever.
Got it. You just shared how you became deaf when you were 2. So does that mean that you're fully deaf, or can you still hear some things?
Am I fully deaf? No. I'm profoundly deaf. For example, deafness is like a spectrum. You have hearing people, and they can hear fine. In the middle, there are hard of hearing people. They have hearing loss. Then you have profoundly deaf. It's completely or almost completely deaf. In the example of the spectrum, I'm the last one. But understand, I can still hear a little bit.
Interesting. I have a friend from work who asked me, because he's curious, if you're deaf, why do you use a hearing aid?
Why do I use a hearing aid? My hearing aid helps me to hear things better, such as knocking on a door.
I know it seems obvious, but
Right.
a hearing aid aids
Helps.
you to hear, but some people think you can't hear anything, but you just explained you can hear some things. So yeah, the hearing aid helps you
Right.
to hear a little bit more.
Like I said, I am profoundly deaf, but I can hear a little bit when I wear my hearing aid. So, like knocks, I can hear that, dogs barking, and music. Yeah, with my family too. If they speak, I can hear them a little bit.
It's the same as people who are nearsighted or farsighted.
Yes, that's a perfect example.
Are they 100% blind? No. So they use glasses so that the glasses are like the equivalent to hearing aids for deaf people.
Yes. Right, exactly.
But Nallely, I know from experience that she's profoundly deaf. Almost fully deaf. But she can still hear some things with her hearing aid.
Yeah, right.
Did you go to a deaf institute or were you mainstreamed? And would you mind explaining the difference between the two?
Fine, sure. For elementary school, I was mainstreamed. Mainstream means public school or school for the hearing. I was mainstreamed for elementary school and then still for 6th and 7th grade. Then in 8th grade, I transferred to a deaf institute, South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind in Spartanburg.
Spartanburg, yep.
And stayed there until I graduated from high school.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
So, some people have commented about yours and my sign. So, explain what kind of sign you use now and
Right
before.
now, I use ASL. In elementary school, I use C, signed exact
English.
English. That's what they taught me. Then in middle school, when I transferred to the Deaf Institute, I used ASL.
Cool. Many people, we've experienced this, have asked us this question. So now I'm going to ask you, can you read lips?
Of course, well, I'm not saying 100%. If people talk fast, no, it will completely go over my head. If they speak slow, I don't mean super slow, like, not super slow.
I've really noticed that for Nallely, it depends. Each deaf person is different. Some are really skilled at lip reading,
Yeah, right.
and some are not very good. Nallely, she's decent. I've seen sometimes when people sit with her one-on-one, she can have good communication
Right.
and dialogue.
Like if people speak normally, I can read their lips. But you know, sometimes people have beards and their hair covers their mouth. Then it's hard to see what they're saying. Not like that. I mean, really covering their mouth.
If it covers the mouth, it's harder, of course, because you can't see the lips moving. Good answer. The next question is a very common question.
Okay,
Can you
I'll try
talk?
my best.
Can you talk?
Okay, when people ask me, can you talk? I will typically tell them no. But honestly, I admit I can talk.
What? You can talk?
Yes, I can talk. Stop. You know that.
Just kidding, I knew that.
But understand, remember when I said when I was 2, I became deaf? Well, I grew up
Couldn't.
and I couldn't hear my own voice.
Right.
So I developed speech problems. So I have a deaf accent. I'm sure people are curious.
What's that
and
mean?
wondering, what is a deaf accent? I recommend you search the deaf actress Marlee Matlin. she is skilled at
Yes.
speaking. She's much
Right.
better than me, right? Honestly, right?
Right.
It'll just give you a good idea.
Of what deaf people sound like.
So I use my voice to talk with friends and family that I feel comfortable with. Because I've grown up with them, I feel comfortable using my voice around them. But with other people, I don't, because I feel like they might think my
Feels
voice is
embarrassing?
weird and embarrassing. That's one reason.
Maybe people will judge her.
The second reason is that people might think I can hear well. And that's not the case. It's impossible.
Right. If people ask her if she can talk and she responds yes, or if she talks with people, they might assume that she can hear.
Right.
So they might go ahead and start talking, but she can't hear.
Yeah.
So that's one reason that she chooses not to use her voice in public.
Yep, right.
Now, I know maybe you'll feel like this is a dumb question,
Oh,
but
no.
many people, they wonder. So I'm going to ask you, can you read and write?
Why do you ask me that question?
People ask you.
But really? Come on. Yes, deaf people can read and write.
Thank you for answering that question. Now, I hope if you are wondering that, you don't have to ask a deaf person so that they'll look at you like, really? So we just helped you.
Yep.
Whew. Oh boy.
What?
This is worse than the last question. Do you read Braille?
Braille is for the blind.
Right.
Braille is for the blind. If I tried
Braille?
to read Braille, I would have no clue what I'm reading.
Right. Braille is for blind people. Nallely's not blind. She's deaf.
It's really funny. People have gone to McDonald's and told the cashier they needed to write in order to communicate. And the cashier was like, oh, okay. And then came back with a menu in Braille
A
for
menu
the blind.
in Braille.
It's funny. It's kind of sad, right? Come on. Right, I can see.
You know, her eyes work fine.
Anyways, what's the next question?
Can you drive?
Some people wonder, can deaf people drive? Of course deaf
Yes.
people can drive. But me? I don't have a license. But I want to, and I'm willing to learn. Maybe Chris can teach me, and we can record that. Maybe someday
Right.
later.
Nallely is kind of scared
Yeah, true.
of driving.
Yeah, very true.
Maybe in the future, we will make a video to
Yep.
show me teaching her how to drive.
Yep.
But we will save that for later
Later.
because we want to make a few more videos before we die.
You're funny. Before, I actually practiced driving around with my parents. But I haven't really learned a lot yet.
You've practiced a little bit, but not
Right,
much.
not much, right. I'm nervous about driving on the highways.
One day you will.
When I ride with you on the highway, I'm like,
One thing
But anyway,
One thing I want to add is many times when we are talking with people, they'll ask us, can deaf people drive? And I'll say, well, Nallely can't because she hasn't
Yes,
learned
right.
yet, but deaf people can. And they'll be like, what? How? And I explain, it's just like hearing people.
Same as hearing people.
They don't need to really hear much to drive. If there's a police officer or an ambulance behind, you can see it, the red and blue lights in the mirrors, on the sides, the rear view mirrors. And sometimes you could see the cars are pulling off to the sides, and so you know, okay, there's an ambulance coming. I have to pull over and follow what all the other cars are doing. And Nallely, yes, she is profoundly deaf, but she can still hear some things. So if she has her hearing aid, she can maybe hear those loud sounds like an ambulance or a police officer. So can deaf people drive? Yes, of course, yes.
Also, people wonder, how do we sign in the car? They wonder, so really, we sign with one hand.
Some people are more skilled than others.
Yes.
For example, me, it's hard.
I know.
I
Sometimes
don't like
I get
to
really
take
excited
my
and I
eyes
just want
off
to
the
talk,
road.
but he's
You know?
focused on the road.
I try to look over really quick, but it depends. If there's heavy
I
traffic,
won't bother him.
I'm
I'll let him
focused on the
focus,
road.
Right.
But sometimes we will, it's kind of a benefit of being a deaf and hearing couple. Sometimes I'll drive with one hand and sign with the other hand. And so then Nallely will voice and I can hear and understand her. So then I sign, she talks, I sign, she talks.
Exactly.
Good addition. Oh,
Are we finished?
oh, one more. Last question already. Wow, that was fast. What is one thing that people would be surprised to learn about you?
One thing? I would say music.
What about music?
I really enjoy music. I love it.
Wow, interesting. I never knew that.
You know that. Anytime I'm doing homework or cleaning, if there's no music, I feel bored. Listening to music helps me focus. It helps me. So I want to share something with you. In 6th and 7th grade, I was in band class. I played the clarinet.
No way. Impossible.
I told you.
Impossible.
I already told him.
I knew that, yeah.
Anyway, at practice, my interpreter would sit next to me and we would use tapping. For the actual performance, I didn't have my interpreter with me, so that was really a challenge. So people wonder how I knew when to play. I would focus on the teacher, you know, the one conducting, and then the person next to me would also nudge me to help me. That was a real challenge. Then I stopped because in middle school, in 8th grade, I transferred to the Deaf Institute, and they didn't have band class because they didn't need it.
They didn't offer it
Right.
in the Deaf Institute. One fun fact is that we use the same thing for when we do our videos. We use the tapping.
Yes.
We try to cut that part out, but maybe now you'll start to notice that we tap and then we start.
Yes.
It's a cool, fun fact for you all. Well,
We're
that
done.
was the last one.
Wow.
No more questions. So that's all the questions we have for today. If you have more questions, again, please feel free to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And click the bell icon for notifications. And that's everything we have for today. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.